their own half.
Mars goes down. Cape Fear is threatening. Rudy Silva Oliva sends it into the box. George Kartzamars goes down, and he's awarded a penalty. Nate Pace is the penalty taker for Cape Fear. He's up against Garrett Peters. He scores! Pace hits it low and hard. 1-0 Sea Devils. Nate Pace is the...
Arpin is awarded a 5-second penalty for cutting the course. Sandell and Atkinson take chase in hopes of getting back on the podium.
The penalty kick is awarded to Montgomery College. Raptors have a chance to tie it up from a penalty spot. Brian Reyes-Aranda, the penalty taker, up against Gonzalez, the converted midfielder, playing goalkeeper. We're level.
Cool, calm, collected finish by Reyes-Aranda, who sent the keeper the wrong way with a slight lean of his body.
Direct. 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 Direct.
Read you like the top line of an optician's chart.
Not only an astronomer, I'm also a horologist.
You look at even the pundits and the legal analysis.
Anything for the dry cleaners?
Go to the dry cleaners and...
Dry cleaner's bad. It's time.
Back from the dry cleaner.
Take this veil to a dry cleaner.
I took it to the dry cleaner.
It's out from the dry cleaners. This kid died.
The pants are gonna have to go to the dry cleaner.
You took it to the dry cleaners.
Back to the dry cleaner. Look at this.
Drunks at the dry cleaners destroyed it.
I'm off to the dry cleaners.
We actually met at the dry cleaner.
My vegetable skirt was at the dry cleaner.
I gotta go before the dry cleaners close.
Nail salon, a restaurant, a dry cleaners, and a notary's office.
I gotta get these shirts to the dry cleaners.
You're gonna take that dress to the dry cleaners.
We do. Of course we do. I'm sorry, I was being absent-minded.
I'm absent-minded because I'm in love with Sarah.
And for correcting our absent-minded mistakes.
I've been called absent-minded before.
Sort of clumsy and absent of mind.
I lost composure.
Keep your composure.
I must say I admire your composure.
I'm impressed by their composure.
But I gathered my composure.
Give Cliff time to regain his...
Will he maintain his gentlemanly composure?
You lost your composure and ruined our entire case.
I tried to keep my composure, but...
The only reason I am keeping any kind of composure...
Greg already struggles to maintain his composure.
You've had it, Turkey.
You've had it, Maury.
Now you've had it.
You've had it. I'm gonna get you.
You had it. Come on, open up this door.
You've had it now. You've had it.
Let's turn it.
Let's turn it.
Henry would marry Mad Charlie's daughter. That's torn it. Buchan went back to Scotland for more troops, and around 5,000 reinforcements were sent. Now, whilst we're on the subject of numbers, at the time of filming, the 14th of December 2020, this channel has just hit 3,000 subscribers. Henry would marry Mad Charlie's daughter. That's torn it.
Now you've done it.
Now you've done it. Now you have done it.
Now you've done it. Very well done.
Now you've done it.
Now you've done it.
Oh, now you've done it.
Oh boy, now you've
Now you've done it.
At the height of his career.
Doesn't care that I'm at the height of my sexuality.
Oh, sure.
It's the height of flu season.
Even at the height of Stalin's purchase.
We're at the height of the information era.
At the height of the influenza epidemic. A father told friends he'd been to the future and seen the graves of his two small children.
At the height of the Cold War, a megaton yield device was smuggled into Moscow in diplomatic pouches, piece by piece, and then the weapon was lost. That's it. At the height of the Cold War, Nightshade was cooked up by a rogue U.S. general as a first strike capability against the Soviets.
Miss Cat, at the height of the Cold War, you were Easter...
Hello, homegirl. It's Lydia. I thought it was a transient thing, blow over in a week.
Do you think for one moment they're gonna let this thing just blow over?
We'll contact the black market and liquidate Boy with Apple by the end of the week. Then leave the country and lay low somewhere along the Maltese Riviera until the troubles blow over and we resume our posts.
Grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
Blew over. I came back.
Why don't both of you slip out of the country till this whole thing's blown over?
Weather blew over just in time.
Yeah, it was bad. It's blown over now.
lost sleep.
The publicity is unfortunate, but I'm sure by the time I get there, it'll be completely blown over.
But it's blown over now.
Well, the storm's blown over with it. And I'm unaccustomed to that feeling. I don't like it.
As if you were unaccustomed to wearing it.
As unaccustomed as I am to having to avouch my credentials within earshot of a public commode, I can tell you that unequivocally this boy tells the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I know you, Sam, you like a debate.
I trust that you will forgive me, but our eyes are unaccustomed to this sort of brightness.
You'll be back in plenty of time, man.
You caught me in plenty of time.
And we make our flight in plenty of time.
We'll arrive in plenty of time for the judging.
They arrived in plenty of time to sign in. That's what I...
5:55. We'll be at the station in plenty of time.
Strong in what seemed to be the twinkling of an eye.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the...
Life is but a twinkling of an eye.
What's supposed to happen? He's supposed to float up into the sky?
In the twinkling of an eye, the body will be transformed into spirit.
And so he says, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, the trumpet will sound and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
Moment, in the twinkling of an eye.
Going to die. Well, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, it actually means the time it takes for light to bounce off your pupil, a millisecond. In the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed.
But things changed in the twinkling of an eye, and it all had to do with the water. And then the water was
within or very near a brief geological period, a twinkling of an eye in the deep time scenario.
Present you with a tantrum, but they are really giving you the exquisite experience, challenging experience, hardest experience in the world of witnessing a developing personality. In the twinkling of an eye, you realize the great privilege it is to be the temporary steward of another life.
1 Thessalonians. What is going to happen? All these events at the end of the world, all of these things will take place in the twinkling of an eye. In the twinkling of an eye. Everything will be done in the twinkling of an eye. One moment you're in this dimension, the next moment you're in the other dimension. One moment this earth, the heavens and earth exist, the next moment it's the new heavens and earth, okay? And those who are caught up...
Running joke about me.
As the underlying premise for a running joke.
So there's a running joke in the industry that the relationship between an investor and an entrepreneur can last 10 plus years, which is longer than the average marriage.
And sure. There's kind of a running joke with my students as to how those drawings turn out. So I'm sure painting something is a...
In fact, my friends have a running joke. They're like, yeah, remember that period where we all stopped talking to you?
It's kind of a running joke in the Valley. It's a punchline. There's an app for that, right? No matter what it is, there's an app for it. There's an algorithm for it. Tech will fix it. We joke about
that there is a running joke. I know that. I know that there is a running joke about the catchphrases that therapists say, especially if you're a rookie or starting out therapist. When you're first starting out in therapy, it's totally normal to have silence. In our society, we don't do well with silences. It's why awkward silence.
Housemate had a running joke that there was a ghost in the house, as several
now I will tell you, I was so busy and I was always going that it was a running joke with my sisters when I
hear her. The running joke in my family, and especially with my dad, is that Taylor's always been a 72-year-old man.
Remember how it became a running joke that Legolas had infinite arrows?
Healthy recovery in next to no time.
She'll be back to calling you an asshole in next to no time.
Now then, the prognosis is this. If you die in the dream, you wake up in reality. Healthy recovery in next to no time. Ask me what happened.
In next to no time. And this means in almost no time at all. In next to means almost. So next to nothing means almost nothing. Next to no time means almost no time at all. For example, I arrived at the club and then in next to no time I was asked to leave. Right, that's it for today's lesson.
Your beautiful Nay can enjoy your beautiful new lawn in next to no time.
And today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little plant pot with just a few household items in next to no time.
Perfect time to put on the brakes. By taking these little morsels of advice to heart, you're sure to whip up the perfect meatloaf in next to no time.
Technology gives you a chance to create virtual communities and mass grassroots movements in next to no time.
From time immemorial.
But we have kept mankind safe since time immemorial.
Since time immemorial.
Since time immemorial, the Green Lantern Corps.
Yes, it is something we have boasted about since time immemorial.
From time immemorial, dinosaurs have known there's only one way to a woman's heart.
Most religions since time immemorial have had something like what the Judeo-Christians call the Golden Rule.
From time immemorial, his people had worshipped a balance between nature's male deities and the goddess, or sacred feminine.
The McAshtons have ruled in these counties since time immemorial.
Dead on time. It stopped again.
Now, we're dead on time, which I feel sorry because James is sort of owed a bit of a comment. James, do you want to have a closing comment?
Look, just very quickly, the idea of respecting knowledge is so...
Maybe I should say dead on time.
Just have a quick conversation about that, and then I'm going to sum up so we finish dead on time at 10 to 3 and your norm doesn't kick my norm's ass, okay?
So in conclusion, dead on time really, dead on time. If you're thirsty, we're dead on time, don't panic.
Dead on time. I am so proud of myself. Barry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I think we can go to...
It looks like a dead heat in a Zeppelin rig.
Major pole has it as a dead heat.
Oh, I'm afraid we have a dead heat here.
Poles have her in a dead heat.
Oh, he's right, it's a dead heat.
With the race a dead heat.
Our preference survey shows a dead heat.
And 28-year-old grassroots challenger Bella Real in a dead heat.
Now, he and Vice President Lewis are in a statistical dead
Dead heat after one hole. Turning into quite a rivalry.
And the latest polls have it as a dead heat.
In the dead of the night. Poll shows the two men in a virtual dead heat.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
In the dead of night.
In the dead of night, a second...
He's in the dead of night.
Slip away in the dead of night.
Secrecy. And in the dead of night.
Assaulting civilians in the dead of night. He's in the dead of night.
Juan Antonio hurried out in the dead of night.
Sneaking down a chimney in the dead of night.
I can hit a blackbird flying in the dead of night.
We're in the dying seconds of the game. It's 2-2.
Lee, get changed. You're on, mate.
These are the dying seconds of the match.
In the dying moments of the match.
Politics. Barnaby Joyce. Finally, in the dying moments of the show, I broached the issue of a national disability insurance scheme and stated that
During his dying moments on the 28th of May 1972, the former king was being comforted by a nurse. With his last breath, he whispered, "Wallace, Wallace, and Wallace." But Wallace was not there. Edward died in the arms of a stranger.